Anthony Edwards is coming off of another impressive season with another disappointing result. For back-to-back years, the star guard has taken a leap in his game, and in back-to-back years, he's been eliminated in the 5th game of the Western Conference Finals. But things are far from over for Ant-Man and the Timberwolves. If anything, things might just be starting up, as we might just be seeing an Anthony Edwards MVP caliber season loading. Welcome to 30 Teams in 30 Days. Let's get into the Minnesota Timberwolves. So with the new addition of Julius Randle, the Minnesota Timberwolves are coming off of a strikingly similar season. Last year, the Wolves won 49 games, finished 6th in the West. Their offense took a leap, jumping from 16th to 18th, while they maintained a top 6 defense. And on top of that, they had a good playoff run until the Western Conference Finals. In back-to-back years, Anthony Edwards finished 7th in MVP voting, Rudy Gobert was still an elite defender, and there were 2 players from the Timberwolves in 6th Man of the Year conversations. While Minnesota has been quiet this offseason without any major free agency signings, they have kept the core together, giving new contracts to Joe Ingles, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid. They did get a big addition in the draft. I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but he is a Frenchie, so I don't care. But Joan Berenger, regardless of how you pronounce it, he is one of the top prospects in this draft. A lot of analysts are seeing him as a steal for the Timberwolves, and he's someone that can be mentored by the fellow French center Rudy Gobert. But for Berenger, he is a lengthy, athletic French center who is touted to be an incredible defensive player. And then another younger prospect in Terrence Shannon Jr. is coming off of an incredible summer league where we saw him get on the first team all summer league team. Their backup guard Jalen Clark is also having a strong summer league, being just 21, and Rob Dillingham is expected to take a leap in his minutes this season. While losing Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the Hawks was a pretty significant loss for the Wolves, those 3 guys are candidates, I think, to take up some of those minutes. After all, Minnesota did run a pretty short rotation, using usually just 8 or 9 guys throughout the majority of the season. Given the fact that they are keeping everyone, and this is going to be just the 2nd year that they have playing with Julius Randle, I expect that the Timberwolves are going to be just as good as they were last year, if not better. However, one thing I do need to mention is Mike Conley. Conley definitely had a rough season last year where he was showing regression both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, having a pretty rough playoff showing as well, shooting just 30% from the field. With his numbers and minutes dropping, and with no new free agents at the time I make this, there is going to be a playmaking hole for the Minnesota Timberwolves. However, that's where we enter in Anthony Edwards. Ant is coming off of the best year of his career. At just 24 years old, he averaged 27, 6, and 4 while taking a massive leap from 3 as he led the league in 3-pointers made while shooting nearly 40%. And constant improvement on a year-to-year basis has been the name of the game for Ant. In his rookie year, he was 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting. He broke out into his 3rd season, becoming an all-star while making strides as a defensive player. In 2024, he made the conference finals while becoming an All-NBA player. On top of that, he improved his efficiency by having a career high in his field goal percentage. And then, as I mentioned, last season he took a big step leading the league in 3-pointers made. So the question is what is next for Anthony Edwards to improve? I have identified 2 key areas in Ant's game that I think he could work on in this upcoming season, and something that could bolster him into MVP kind of conversations. The first one comes down to his shot selection and overall efficiency, specifically from the mid-range area. An improvement like we've seen from 3-point range is absolutely impressive. Few players in NBA history have done that at such a high rate. However, Edwards also dropped off, averaging a half assist less per game while seeing his marks from 2-point range fall. For example, at the restricted area last year, Anthony Edwards shot 63% and he shot 37% from mid-range. From the year prior, he shot 69% at the restricted arc while still struggling, shooting 35% from the mid-range area. While primarily attacking the rim and only shooting the 3-ball is a very efficient way to shoot, in the playoffs, it can become repetitive, and a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder can very easily shut it down. In the conference finals, a big drop-off we saw from Ant was his 3-ball. Against the Thunder, he shot just 28% on 8 attempts per game. His scoring in the conference finals also dropped compared to the regular season, and it was the lowest scoring series of any time he's ever been in the playoffs. However, he did shoot 62% from 2-point range, the best he's ever done in a playoff series. And Ant has struggled from the 2-point 3-point area before in the playoffs. For last year's playoffs overall, he shot a measly 58% from the restricted area and just 30% from mid-range. These are both areas where we could see a massive improvement for Anthony Edwards. We already know that Ant is a high-level slasher and ball handler who is very hard to stay in front of. We know he's an incredible 3-point shooter that's hard to stop even when you know it's coming. But if you look at the team that he lost to and the team that won the NBA Finals, it was the Oklahoma City Thunder led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. As we know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best mid-range shooters in the entire NBA, and he's somebody whose entire game is built off of his lethality from mid-range. His ability to slash, his ability out of the pick and roll, his ability to create plays for others, and even his ability to shoot threes all stem from the defense's fear of the mid-range area. Anthony Edwards is an absolutely elite 3-point shooter, and I don't want him to stop shooting the 3-ball at all. But to me, the way that he improved his 3-point shooting can be done in the exact same way to his mid-range efficiency. We have already seen at least twice where he has significantly improved multiple parts of his game, so I know it's possible for him to become a high-level mid-range shooter. And I think this could be something similar to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. As defenses had to step up to guard his mid-range game, that would allow him to blow by, and that allows him to attack the rim. But if defenses have to guard the mid-range area and the rim, then he'll get even easier looks from 3-point range. I think Anthony Edwards slightly tweaking his shot selection could be absolutely huge, but I want to pivot another way and talk about another part of his game that could also be improved, and that's his playmaking. As I said, we know Anthony Edwards is a good defender who can slash at a high rate and he can shoot the 3-ball pretty well. The one part that he's not a super high level player at is his ability to pass and make plays as a shooting guard. With Mike Conley near retirement and the Wolves not having a significant point guard on the roster, there's going to be a hole that needs to be filled. The Wolves are going to need somebody who can lead them in assists. They're going to need somebody who can run the offense. They're going to need somebody who can create for others. And I think there are very good chances we could see Anthony Edwards get better at this, because this has been a trend seen by nearly every single player who's won the finals in recent history. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a great playmaker and nearly lost to one of the league's best in Tyrese Halliburton. Jason Tatum is an above average passer for a guard, and so is Giannis, and of course, Nikola Jokic is the best passer in the league. And LeBron James led the league in assists and played the point guard position in 2020. I think you get my case. Just about every single high-level player in the league and every single player who leads a team to a championship needs to be able to distribute for others at an above-average rate for their position. With no major free agency additions, the Wolves need Anthony Edwards to make a playmaking jump. And this is something that's more than possible. He made a jump from 3-point range. He made a jump attacking the rim. He made a jump on defense. He made a jump with his overall efficiency. Why not? Can he make a jump as becoming one of the league's top passers? And Ant has already shown flashes of this. Last year, he was one of the league's best scorers out of the pick and roll. In 2024, he averaged 5 assists per game. For practically his entire career, he's done a good job keeping his turnovers low despite having one of the higher usage rates in the entire league. Regardless of if we see a playmaking boost or a mid-range and inside boost, or possibly even both from Anthony Edwards, I think either one of these major improvements is going to bolster him in the MVP conversation. Assuming that Anthony Edwards is more efficient or dishes the ball at an even better rate, his stats and overall the Wolves will be better. The one thing that typically holds back MVP candidates is their seeding. We rarely ever see a player win the league's MVP without being a top 3 or top 4 seed. With the Wolves staying pretty much the same and with the Western Conference growing stronger around them, I don't see them locking up the number 1 or 2 seed, and I think that they could be in the fight for the 3 through 5 spots depending on how things go. But I think it's totally possible that Ant carries this team into the playoffs and carries them into a top 5 spot. And if he does that, anything is possible. And I know for Wolves fans, this is something that they're talking about, and even though they're biased, they might just have a point. This might just be the year that Anthony Edwards really gets into that high-level MVP conversation, and he claims the title of the next face of the NBA. Regardless of what happens to Anthony Edwards, this is going to be a big season for him. This is a dark horse championship team to me, but even though they may not be in championship conversations, no matter what happens, I am incredibly confident that we are going to see a high-level version of Anthony Edwards. This has been 30 Teams in 30 Days. If you like this video, you know what to do, and I will catch you all next time.